Hi, it's Allie from Little Wishes Bakehouse here. Thank you for joining me today. In this video, I'm going to show you how I made this princess cake. So I'm starting with my blue cake here, and I'm just adding some gold pearl border along the bottom. I made the border using a pearl silicone mold out of fondant, and I just dusted it with some gold dust. Now I'm going to use an edible image for the Cinderella body. So I'm just deciding where to put it. I put my edible images onto a piece of fondant before I put it on my cake. And then here I'm going to trace out her dress with this blue frosting. You can see that I've made a little bit of an outline there with a toothpick on the cake so I know where to go. And I tried to match the frosting to the color of her bodice. So I'm just going to fill this all in, and then I'll go over it afterwards and smooth it out with a palette knife. Now I'm going to go over the dress with a larger palette knife. I'm just making these kind of lines in it, and I'm making them curved to give an illusion of some movement, the way a skirt would normally kind of look. And then you'll see in a second I'm going to go over it again with a piping tip to further enhance that illusion. So I'm using a 104, this is a Wilton 104 petal tip, and I've got the fat end towards the cake, and I'm just tracing along the outside there, and then I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap and pipe another line following the curves that I already put in the frosting with that palette knife. And I'm wiping my tip off here and there. It's not too important what the top looks like because I'm going to be covering that up afterwards. And then I'm making sure that I'm piping along that edge there. And now I'm going in with a ruffle piping tip. I think it's a Russian piping tip. And I'm kind of making little curves in it, again, just to emulate what a dress would look like. And then I'm going over it with this open star tip. And we're just going to cover up those little spaces there with a white bow. Again, I used a silicone mold for this. This is just white fondant, covering up those little peaks. And next, I'm really sorry I couldn't get a better angle on the camera. I had to have it turned to me. But I'm using a 126K tip here. And I'm just creating some layers of ruffles, and I'm ending the piping all together there at a little point in front of her dress. I'll turn the cake in a second. There you go. And then here I'm adding another fondant bow that I made using a mold, just to hide that seam there. So to complete the cake, I'm adding a few other elements. I've got these little flowers that I made. I used a flower cutter, a punch cutter, or plunger I should say, and then I just thinned out the petals with a ball tool, and then I colored them with some blue petal dust and some pearl dust, and I put a little gold sprinkle right in the middle. Now I'm going to add some butterflies that I made previously. These I used a silicone mold, and then I dried them in that kind of V shape so that they had some dimension to them. And once they were dry, I just painted the outside with some gold, some edible gold. At this point I stopped adding them because they were sticking well to the cake, but I got a little bit worried that they might fall off, so I decided to attach some more later with some chocolate. I made this crown using a cutter, and I let it dry in that shape, and then I airbrushed it with gold. And that completes the cake with the rest of the butterflies, the child's name. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching.